Welcome, everyone, and welcome to the College of Rochelle. Thank you for joining us to celebrate the life of a special colleague and friend. I'm told that Yvonne Hayes was a spirited and energetic young woman. She made history when she enrolled at the College of Rochelle in 1972 as the first student to register for classes at our School of New Resources. Who can believe that it was 42 years ago when she began her relationship with CNR? She filled those years with purpose and commitment. I've heard of her great love for CNR and her mentor, Sister Dorothy Ann Kelly. She immersed herself in the School of New Resources with great enthusiasm and compassion for her classmates. She worked in so many areas of the college and SNR, and I understand that she truly enjoyed the demands of college life. She taught English and writing, and she completed her CNR career as Vice President for College Advancement, making many new friends at CNR and raising money to support us. She even recruited her successor, for which I am ever so grateful. While she was here, she met her husband, Franklin. She retired at the very early age of 40. I need to understand how she did that. To not only that, but pursue a life of sailing, spending 6 years in the Caribbean. And after they settled in the state of Washington on Whidbey Island, she realized another dream of hers and created a ranch, which included a variety of animals, but especially dogs, large and small, and enjoying once again her great passion for horseback riding. I never had the chance to meet Yvonne, but she did write to me after I became president. We shared a passion for horses, and I'm certain she and I would have had a lot to discuss about our mutual interests. By every account, she enjoyed a unique and special life. I'm so grateful that you're here with us today to celebrate her life. And now I'm going to turn it over to Susan, who's going to do it. Thank you, Susan.
Believe me, Yvonne would love to have been here. Trust me. And I'm going to be very sad when I go home that I can't call and talk to her about all of you. Ellie has provided me with a wonderful reading for today. Just ask the animals to teach you, the birds of the air to tell you, or consult with the earth itself for instruction. Let the fish of the sea clue you in. Who among all these does not know that the hand of the Lord is at work here? Who would deny that the soul of every living thing is in his hand? Yes, and the breath of every human body? Job 12, verses 7 to 10. Call it the community of the mortal. Animals, birds, earthlings, fish, and human beings. To Job, it was self-evident that very little credit for weal and woe is actually in the hands of creatures. It is almost entirely in the hands of the Creator. Instinct more than intelligence determines the life pattern of creatures. Adaptation over many generations, more than wise choices by individuals, is what ensures their survival. What each inherits is far more important than what each contributes. How each figures into the well-being of the larger community matters much more than how each uses the larger community to serve its own ends. Yes, there is a role for intelligence, wise choice, unique contributions, and individual whimsy. But all creatures, humans included, owe far more to what they have received than to what they can produce for themselves, to their givens than to their own initiatives. The irony is that no creature has a struggle with this except us. We make believe we aren't going to die until we are looking death in the eye. Our fragility always seems to come as a shock to us. We are amazed to discover how little we can control and how quickly we can lose control of what we are controlling. Of all creatures, we alone imagine ourselves to be creators, full-fledged, honest-to-goodness creators. Most of us rarely or never approach our true potential because we exhaust ourselves in the pursuit of what we were never made to become. We have a lot to gain from getting to know the rest of God's creatures. They don't try to be what they aren't. And we have a lot to gain from getting to know our Creator. It's the only way to straighten ourselves out and discover how to be what we are. And it is my pleasure to introduce Camille and Rita. Camille and I go back a long time, we were trying to say 72, 73. Some of the first students, along with Yvonne, at New Resources, and Camille went on to serve on the Board of Trustees, along with her husband, Chris. And we've been through many things, Camille, many dinner things.
Oh, wonderful. Right, ever good.
I was told to be brief, and I will be brief. Actually, I wanted to tell you how honored I am to be able to say a few words about Yvonne. It was 1972 and 73. I was a stay-at-home mom. I had 3 young children, a successful husband. I had a good life, but something was missing. In the words of a popular song by Peggy Lee at the time, I asked myself, is that all there is? And then I discovered New Resources. I was interviewed by Yvonne Hayes, who was a refreshing surprise. A young woman with a rather bohemian vibe. She counted the conservative tone of CNR of those days. We had a lively discussion, not of what kind of education I should have, but of courses that would appeal to me. We both favored literature. She was smart, confident, strong, and funny. We laughed a lot. She cared for and respected those with whom she worked, especially the students also. It was the first of many meetings. When she had free time, we would have a cup of coffee, easily talking about ideas, school, our lives, and family. Even though we did not see each other over a long time after she moved and started a wonderful life with Franklin, there was Facebook. And a recent photo of her there captures the vitality of Yvonne for me. She sits upon a beautiful horse in classic pose, in control, self-possessed. She looked like a queen. May you rest in peace, my friend. You are missed. And Joe, could you join us here?
Hi, I'm Joe McDermott, and I met Yvonne Hayes that first day she walked in here because Billy Shea and myself, Tom Tabb, the founder, were there trying to figure out how we can reach out to the CNR, the Rochelle community, to come here and join us in what was an extraordinary experiment called New Resources. It wasn't just to be a book. And Tom said to me this morning, he can't be, his daughter is sick and he has to go to the doctor's with her. He said, I think when Yvonne met us and left, I didn't think we'd see her again. Because I think she thought we were like a little full of it. And she came back shortly after. It was a day or two, I don't really remember that. But we're all relieved that she came back because we were trying to recruit people. But there was something happened in that conversation that Tom and I had with Yvonne. We actually talked to her, not to each other. And she actually listened in a way that, as she later did so often, well, we might be full of it, it's not a bad idea. You say, okay, where do I sign up? That she came from that perfect adult student to vice president of her college is a surprise in most of the academic world in America. It just doesn't happen. But it wasn't a surprise to any of us as I heard one promotion after another. That this is a woman who is a line in here about we don't know what we control and we can't control. Sue, just read that line. I don't think Yvonne ever for a moment intended to control anything. Or if I asked her what she was doing and how she felt about herself and how was her power and influence increasing, she would just send me away, but kept on controlling. The difference is that she didn't have any needs. She didn't have a big ego. She was, in a sense, a perfect presence for the people Ellie was trying to recruit from the neighborhood. I knew Rochelle Bowen, interesting background. Did I hear somebody say bohemian whimsy? She had a style that was not of the 70s, often enough reflecting on the 50s, or some we later learned, the Aniston style later that we bumped into. She sat there in the middle of the girls and boys, Ruth Dowd and Ellie Shea, and the boys, Tom Taft and Lady Rocker and Fred Dunn and myself, Dennis Walsh. And it became the three of them ran New Resources while the boys ran off and thought about it. Back with ideas.
Or a new campus.
Or a new campus. And it never, for a moment, shook her up, because that whimsy that she had was really not a whimsy, but it was an activity. It was a believing activity that brought her to the steps of Tony Hayes, for instance, or down with the bells of hell, Irene was here. Or more formally telling me to knock it off and staying out too late. I don't expect you to get done what you say you're doing. This is a direct quote. What you say you want to do, that was it. And not getting it done. And she'd walk off. She had an office upstairs. And I didn't have to wait for the next time I could see her to try and explain myself. The two women she joined with, and they didn't adopt her, she fit in. Ellie Shea, from the Ursuline community, and Ruth Dowd, from the Mountains of Sacred Heart in Hamdale, a dear, dear friend of mine from previous life. And Yvonne. On the way up with Irene and Fred, they said, what were her titles? I said, I don't know if she ever had any, until she became vice president. She was just there. Now, I'm only giving you the early years. And later on in her career, which I can't really talk about, but I can say that it was a pleasure to see her in the morning. It was a pleasure to say goodbye to her at night. Because if there was no look, I could go home and be a little bit satisfied. She didn't play politics, she was politics. Because she became a filter that rejects. Ellie would get mad at Tom Taft and get mad at me and get mad at others, the boys. And Ruth Dowd, who was my mentor for many years, was quite willing to tell me what I did wrong. But the real political filter was Yvonne Hayes, who you knew everything that was going on. The only title I knew she had was secretary. And we know secretaries are powerful, but she wasn't interested in that. She was interested in running the place in an expressive way, in a commentary way. Yvonne Hayes got what Tom Taft said to her the first day about control. The issue of control for New Resource, we said we want people to gather in Chelsea, in this building, later in Co-op City and down in the Union, but you're getting a BA to know who makes decisions on you. And you're supposed to go on learning, continue to, how do you make your own decisions? She got that right away. But somebody said she taught English. I remember those classes, and she used to actually prepare. I don't mean that as negative in the academic community. I mean, she actually really worried about those classes. But what I appreciated then is that there wasn't ever enough, and Marie knows this so often, enough for her to do. It's interesting to think about the word presence in a system or in a subculture like New Resources was. The person with the most presence among these very smart people, Tom Taft, who was institutional CNO, Ellie Shea joined that title, and Ruth Dowd had been through so much in the academic world with a philosophy PhD from Ford, and Tom Rocker bringing any number of experiences with him, and Fred Dunn and I, friends from New York and from the West Side, coming here as a counselor. In a way, they turned down a job with, for the White House because he wanted to stay in New Resources. But Yvonne operated all of those ambitions and all of those commentaries and all of those ideas with a style that we not only appreciated but followed. So that she went on later to the important the College of Rochelle, there's only evidence that New Resources was probably right. The people who come out of New Resources will stay in that world of doing things, not for adult students, but for learners. And Yvonne never left the comments Tom Taft gave me on that first day. If you come here, you're going to get a lot smarter because you want to get a lot smarter, and this is the place to do it. And so I stayed in touch with her for a while through her sister, Maya, but I haven't seen her in 10 years. And I hear this around, people are saying, I wish I'd seen her more often, I'm never forgetting that. But when I got a call from Sue, it didn't make any sense, because as far as I was concerned, what I am doing now, and I love doing it, and I continue to do it, a lot of it came from a reflection of what a woman like Yvonne, a person like Yvonne expected of me. And I really appreciate that memory. I'm going to miss that memory. Well, maybe I'll keep the memory of this one.